Okay, so welcome to, this is the first part of the bodywork training. There's another part which is language skills, but this is the first 5 days of the training, and it's particularly for the bodywork, which is joint release, which is a derivative of Traeger. I'm not going to do a manual for the joint release for this part of the training because I believe that showing it on a video, particularly for bodywork, a picture tells 1,000 words, and it's so much easier to learn by seeing it with the bodywork than it is to read it in a manual or something like this. And also you'll be getting this in the training as well. So this will be a support after the training when you go home and you want to know what the hand positions are, or I can't remember. Then you'll be able to look at the video and it will come back very easily to you. During the video, I'm going to start by showing the hand positions. This is very basic step-by-step hand positions. Look at how I hold. It's very important, the how and the positions. And then I will start doing the moves. The hand positions are like dots. It's like dots in a dance. And in between the hand positions, there'll be a kind of play of movement and freedom, and this will be the work, how to join these dots up as though they're not a stationary, static position. This is a bit like Tai Chi, where Tai Chi is full of different movements. There's this movement and this movement, but actually there is only one thing in Tai Chi. It's one movement which is continually changing. So we want to get over this idea that this is about a dance, a play, and not about techniques. Okay, so this is Leela, who's volunteered to be the model. Thank you very much. What you need is a good table that doesn't wobble. You need a good quality table because you're going to be moving and you want the table to be solid. If the table is not solid, you do a movement on the person and then there's a counter movement with the table, and this is very uncomfortable for the client. So have a good table, and it's very good to, the right size is this. You just put your hands down, and when your palm is at right angle to your arm, it is at the top of the table. This would be a rough indication of the right height. And of course you will find your own height and way of doing it as you go along. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, if you come in with the camera, is show you some basic hand positions. Have a look at the positions and see. The first hand position is I'm working on her right leg, and I'm going to bring my right hand, and it's like I'm not shaking hands with a hand, but I'm shaking hands with a foot. Notice exactly where the V of my index finger and thumb fits very nicely there, and my thumb goes very nicely in this little hollow between the toes and the foot there. The other fingers grip all the way around. Grip is probably the wrong word, but it's full contact. This is a full contact sport. Every hand position, every hold should be that you hold with as much possible of your hand as possible. You lift up, and then I'm going to let the ball of the foot gently rest in the other hand, and if you come around here with the camera, you'll see that in the V of this left hand is this ankle bone here. That sits very comfortably in there. And again, I have full contact. And I do both these together, and the movement will be a little bit of traction and lifting and letting go. So that's one hand position. Another one is that I'm going to be working the toes a bit, so I'm going to get both hands like this. I sink down, I keep my back straight, and I'm going to be just wobbling the toes like that. But this is hardly a hand position, it's very simple. But what I will be doing as I do that is just giving a little bit of, I use these parts of my hands underneath the foot to give that little let go. It's a let go, and a let go, and a let go, and a let go. So this is working here. If you come around here with the camera, I'll show you. What I want to do now is basically I'm going to create a very gentle rocking movement in the leg. Again, the hand position is important. You want full contact. This creates safety in the client, that you're taking care of them. And safety, in my opinion, is one of the biggest factors in this work. If the client consciously feels safe, and if the client's unconscious feels safe because it feels held and supported. You know, if I really hold this as though it's actually safe, then the unconscious of the client, the body wisdom, can let go. But this is the position. I'm standing upright. I have both hands here. One hand here above the foot, the other below the knee. And I'm going to actually at some point start to just do this rocking. But this hand position can be done all the way up the leg. Okay. I'm going to come back here again and here. And another position, if you come around and have a look at this, not the position, but I'll show you what we do with it. I said this was the first move. We can do some traction like this, but also you can lift up the foot like this, and you can rotate. This is going to rotate the hip joint like that, and you just do this. But here again, you need this connection here, this full-bodied thing. Later, I'm going to talk about the proprioceptive feeling that you use. It's unlike massage, where it's more about exoceptive, which is pressure and touch and temperature. This is feeling into the person, into the body position, into how much movement is possible, into how much force and acceleration can happen. This is why it's a very effective bodywork. If you come around here again, I'll show you the next position. I'm going to show you these hand positions on one side. I won't do the whole body. This will just allow you to do the opposite on the other side. Now, we've had this position here, but this one we want to support the knee. So I come in with my right hand here, and I'm going to put the fingers of my right hand underneath the knee joint. And this is very nice support for people. And I'm going to lift. But what I'm going to do, at the same time, I'm going to be doing this rocking, and so I kind of lift like this. And again, you've got this full contact with both hands. If I do it without full contact, it's not very nice for the client. This gives a real sense that you're taking care of them. I can put some traction on this by leaning back a bit and letting go. The traction is important for the release, but you let go. Ah, that's nice. Okay, so I'm here, and then this hand can come here, and I can continue this rocking movement, but now it's become circular. I can do that the other way around by keeping my right hand rocking and bringing my left hand underneath, and I can do some action like this. Okay. You might want to go back. I go backwards and forwards between moves quite often. We want to loosen up the muscles here, give them the sense of freedom around the thigh. These are very big muscles, and they rock very easily around the bones in the thigh. So I want one hand on the inner thigh and one on the out, and I'm just going to go up and down like this. And again, it's not that I'm actually holding the whole thing. Okay, and then the next thing that is a kind of support for that is to put my hands underneath the thigh and do this kind of lifting and letting go. So hands go under, come around this side maybe and have a look from here so you can see how they go. Come under like this, And I'm going to lift and let go. Remember that thing about the release is important. Every time I lift, I let go, and there's a message of release. Look how my hands and my thumbs hold the thigh and can go all the way down there. And I can even go from the lower back doing this. I can come in here. Look how I come in with my hand, I turn it over like that, bring it in under here, and the other one can be here, and I just do this very nice kind of flopping movement, and I can come back to this, do a bit more. Okay, another move is, I might want to lift the knee up, so that the knee is going to be up here and the foot down there. So I will come up again, it's full support. So I've got my back straight, I've got down, and I'm just going to lift this up and put it there. Now from there I may want to stabilize the foot, so I can bring my knee up on the table like that. Not always necessary, but sometimes it is. And I can then do a little bit of this release as well. Every time I rock the leg that way, there's a release on the way back. Now, if I want to straighten the leg, I'm not going to just, excuse me, Leon, I'm going to do what I shouldn't do, which is just go like that. Very common in some joint release, but actually it only makes the body go into a kind of very mild form of defense. So what I want to do is let the leg go down, but I carry it all the way down. So the leg is letting go at the same time that my hands are letting it go. So it's got support and the feeling of let go. Let me show you that again. So, there. I can play with that in other ways. So say it's here. I can begin to play with this now, that I have this, and then I can pick this leg, come around the other side, so you can see this. So I bring this hand under there, and I can lift this up. And this is where we're really beginning to play with this proprioceptive sense. And the thing about the proprioceptive sense is that it's what actually re-educates the system. It doesn't just make it relax, it goes, this is the feeling, this is what it's like to let go. This is the feeling of being weightless and free, remember this. I can do a little bit of work here as well, you look at the foot here, I can go back to doing some of this. Okay, I think that's enough for the leg. I'll show you some other stuff. I can come here and lift this up and then put my other hand there. And this is very important also for people to get this sense of grounding as well. Just play around with it. Anything where there's free movement is what we're looking for. I can put a little bit of traction on here like this. So it's going all the way up to her head. I can let that go, or I can lift this. I can come back here. I can play with this movement here. I can go round and round should I wish. It all depends on how much the body in its own wisdom is prepared to give to the process. Okay, already that leg's looking a little different from the other one, and we've hardly done anything on it. So we're going to come to the stomach now. The very first move, the stomach's a sensitive area, and because our baseline is safety and comfort and ease and pleasure, we want to go very careful here. So I'm going to come on, and the first thing I'm going to do is just begin to touch the belly, the stomach. Just hello, I'm just making friends here, you know. I just want to feel the shape of it, where the hips are, where the ribs are, where the stomach is. And all I'm doing is just going, here I am, I'm going to be working here in a minute. Now, after a while, I can start to do some rocking. I can do the rocking here. If I'm doing the rocking here, I've got full contact with my hands, but I'm using this part of my hands as the kind of handle to get the rocking going, so I can go like that. Now, I can begin to move this around, and I'm going to play with the 4 kind of corners of this belly area. So I can work from here like this. I'm working in this corner. Or I can come in here, but this other hand has to move up to the lower ribs. I can work in here with my fingers. I can bring this hand there, like this. On the other side I will work here and here more, although I can still do that from this side if I wish. So these are, you want full contact. I can come here, I'm rocking with one hand. I'm not really pulling, it's not so comfortable to pull, although it can be quite nice. But you want a kind of harmony between the 2 hands. So that's the big thing. The other thing you can do, not so easy on thin people, is you can scoop up the flesh. You scoop up the flesh so you have you scoop a handful of it in the middle here, and that becomes your handle, and then you can use this, and then you can play around with this. I'll show you how I'll do that, but at the moment it's just the hand positions important. And I'd like to reiterate that the hand positions, they should be soft. It's total respect of the client. If there is any defensive reaction in the client, you stop. And you go and find somewhere where it's easier. So if I'm doing this and I feel that, oh, there's some holding somewhere, then I'll go here and I'll find somewhere, oh, this is easy, that works. I won't go into I only want to create an experience of freedom and pleasure and looseness. I can do the stomach a bit by coming here. I can put my right hand 45 degrees that way on the lower ribs, and I can kind of work like this. There, I can bring this hand over here, and I'm using the lower ribs as that kind of handle to create the rocking. Then I can get my fingers going, but it's not poking, it's really just getting my fingers as much connection there as possible. I can play around, but I'll come back to that. But that's kind of the position there, or I can do this. Okay. Now, how do you do it? I'll give you once I've done all the work, I'll give you a run through of it, and it will be nicer for you. So now I'll go on to the arms, and the way I like to start is to come on here. You come round and I'll show you. I put my hand down, maybe, depends how much room there is there. Here I can do this easily actually. I can go under there very easily and just create that sense of, but if it's not, then I can slide my thumb in and just roll my hand over, and then I can lift that. And what I'm doing with this is getting this, yeah, it's okay. And you can work from the top like that. So I can also work from the side, like from down here with this, doing the same thing. Just coming in here. And what this does, Leela will probably be noticing now that I haven't worked so directly on it, probably noticing that her shoulder blade is probably lying a little bit different now compared to the other one, and the shoulder itself is probably a little bit different from the other one. It's quite noticeable. So I can do this. Every touch, every moment is how can I impart to this body, to this being, to this organism, to this wisdom of life, the feeling of freedom and let go. And this is the re-education. So now, I want to do the same thing with the leg. I'm going to shake hands. So I'm going to get this hand, my right hand, I was just shaking hands. Very mild traction to begin with, and then the let go. So as the session goes on, there's thousands of messages of this is let go, this is let go, this is let go, well, this is let go, that was let go. It just keeps happening. So I can play with this, I can lift it up a bit and do this easy, I can shake it from side to side a bit, lift up, a little bit of what the muscles work there. I don't want that, so I won't try it again until I've done something where it's okay. So I got this. Now, then what I want to do is I'm going to take the hand like this. Have a look at this, you can see that. My thumb goes in the palm of her hand and my fingers go around the edge. This is a good, safe, it feels as though I got it. And I'm going to bring this arm out to right angles, and I can start playing here like this. And I have a free hand to do anything I want with. I can go under here and begin to play with weight here. This is the feeling of just having an arm supported. Interesting, it doesn't happen very often. I can start doing this, or I can lift up, and I can change. Here, I'm holding the arm from here, so there's a sense of this. Here, I'm supporting the arm upwards, and I can change between these two. I can go under here, and the other thing I can do is bring this hand here onto the biceps, and I can kind of swing that arm a bit like that. At the same time, I can be tractioning out a bit, and there again the releases, and there's a release every time you do this. Every time it rolls back, there's a release, but every time you do this, there's another little release. And these releases build up and they kind of flood the central nervous system. Yeah, and already this is very nice, very nice. Easy. I can work here like this. And get the thumb, isolate the thumb from the fingers, or even the other way around. Very nice. Another one, which is good. I get this position again, I bring the arm here. And maybe I want to come out a bit, so here. And then I can lift up and get a little opening in the shoulders. Or, now when you do this, you want to find the elbow here. You want to get your hand there so that it's very comfortable. If you don't get this right, it's not so comfortable for the client. You've got to get your whole hand here. And if your finger is any part on this part, it's uncomfortable because the weight's on it. Whereas if I go here, where the natural bend is, that's easier, yeah? Mm-hmm. That's a better feeling. So then I can do more detailed work like this. I can work with that. I can lean over a bit and swing that. And all these variations are going to join the dance in a minute. And if I want, I can do this kind of thing. Now, interestingly, the client comes in, they're not used to this work, their mind's going, what's happening, how is it? Their body's getting used to it. As the releases build up during a session, it begins to affect the whole being, the whole body. I can come under here, and slide under here, and if it's somebody big shoulder, you want to do it bit by bit, you just come in, and I want to get my fingers kind of underneath the shoulder blade so I can lift the shoulder blade out. And then I can just lift up actually, or give a little push that way, or lift out and traction out, and then the release. And I can keep doing that. Or I can bring my thumb here, and I can rock the whole spine like that if I wish. Opening out the back as we do. Okay, it's beginning to look a bit bent now. Part of this is just geography because we pulled things, but part of it is because this side of the body is actually relaxing some of the muscle tension, is releasing compared to the other side. I'm going to work the chest now. So I'm going to stand here. Maybe if you come around and look at me here. I'm going to stand here diagonally across, looking diagonally across from the shoulder down to the leg, and my right leg is forwards. So my right leg is forward. I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to put it on that lower rib there, where we did the rocking earlier. And this hand is going to come on the chest here. It's very useful for people who have had asthma and stuff like this. It's really good to work the chest. You can release a lot. So I'm going to kind of rock more with this hand, and at the same time I'm putting this little compressions on. But the compression, you never go where the body tightens. You stay within the range. And with every compression there is a kind of release. I can come here and work a bit like this. I can come here to the side, and I can have this hand, instead of being facing that way, it can turn this way so that both hands kind of frame the breast or whatever, and I can use this, and I can bring this hand over the ball of the shoulder or thereabouts, and I can kind of open that up a bit. And the final one that I'm going to show you on this is that you've done all this, you've worked this, and then I want to get this movement down here, and I have this hand on the shoulder, the finger, remember the full contact. This is doing that, and I'm pushing that way with that one, and I'm rocking laterally with that. So these are the dots. I join them up a little bit, but I'm going to show you more joining up later. And then I'm going to come to the neck and the head. Be careful with the neck and head. People are very sensitive. People have been to osteopaths who crack their neck and this kind of thing. And this work is very, very different. And you may want to reassure people before a session that you're not going to do anything that the body doesn't want you to do, unless you make a mistake, but you don't, we go very gently, so we don't. So first thing I want to do is, I'm going to bring this hand in under the neck here, where it just fits very nicely, and then I'm just going to roll that there like that. So we have the shoulder here, the neck, and we just do some sculpting. One hand comes up, all the way up there, and then the other hand follows it like that. At the same time, if I want, I can bring this other hand in and give a counter movement there, which is very nice. I bring it up here again, up like that. I can get right under there if I want, and give that, and keep doing this like that. I can get my hand on the back of the cranium here, so that I have it anchored, and then I can put the shoulder, the palm of my hand on the shoulder, and I can start doing some rocking here between the two. A bit more sculpting, back to some of that. Again, this way. Nice. Notice how I get in there, I put the thumb under, roll up like that, and I can really lift the back there. and then down. I can come on the top here. When I put any pressure in these areas here, it has to be with this part of the hand there. If you do that, there's two bones down here which hurt. If I go like this, I don't know, is that comfortable or uncomfortable? It's not so nice, eh? Whereas if I do it more with this part of my palm, it's much easier. So I want to just get this whole rib cage moving. I want to get that kind of spring, that let go, that it's safe to let go, that the whole thing can relax. The muscles here can do that there. Creating space, lengthening, opening, and letting go. And already I feel there's some softening there, it's quite nice. Okay, with the head, what we're going to do is, when you pick up the head, it's good to just start with the head. Very careful. People have a lot of control around the head generally, you know. So you want to have full hand contact. You don't want to push it very much or make anything happen. Basically what you're doing is you're saying, this, I'm taking care of your head. I've got it. I've got the weight of your head. That's a nice thing, isn't it? Okay. And then I can let the head very slowly drop back down and keep the neck. And I can put both sets of fingers under the neck, and I can do this kind of rolling here like this. Up and let go, up and let go. And you can go through all the cervical vertebrae there, or you can even go from further down the cervical vertebrae. You can start here. A little bit of traction, not much, just a little bit. And lifting and rocking. Lifting and rocking. And I even use these parts of my fingers to kind of differentiate between the body and the neck. And if you keep this very playful, you have to be very careful when you're learning on the head. But if you keep it very playful, the head will respond in some ways. You may not get a completely moving head or neck or any other part of the body, but you'll get what is a good progress for the client relative to them. I can get here and do a little bit of this. And lifting and rocking on the other side. A little bit of traction. It goes all the way down the spine, does the whole body. Okay, so I think that's enough for hand positions on the front. How are you doing? Is it okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm now just going to give you a little bit, maybe on this side or a bit, and I'll play. And then we'll turn over and do the back. Okay, so I'm just going to freestyle here. It may or may not be what I do in a session, but it's going to be a combination of giving Leela a balance and also showing on the tape. And what you need to look at is what I'm bringing to this. My hands become an extension of the proprioceptive. They become an extension of this leg of this body. So I can feel in there. I can feel where the flow doesn't work, because I can feel the same muscles, the same sensory receptors firing off, or whatever it is. Anyway, so now I turn this into a bit of a dance. If anything feels good, Leela, just let it in. You know, just enjoy it. Whatever level of good, some things feel really good and other things just feel, oh, that was nice. You know, so whatever level of it feels good at, you just go, oh yeah, I'll let that in. this video is really more about that you know the techniques rather than what's behind the techniques, but it's still good to get some idea of what's behind the techniques. Might go a bit slower in a session, but for the purposes of this video, so we're not here all day, I'm going a little bit, that's right. Later, in the second half of the training, you learn how to actually use your voice as another set of tools, you know. So if I'm talking here and I can, apart from actually working with an issue or a problem, and I can just talk, you know, oh, that shoulder, yeah. That's right. It knows how to relax. Yes, that inside. That's right. Longer, very nice. If you, this, I mean, in a way, in its essence, it's a hypnotic technique, really. It's a rocking that happens with your mother in a cradle or something. It's such a familiar thing, this rocking, but much more than that, because the rhythm puts you into trance, and the internal focus puts you into trance. And it gives a lot of freedom on the inside to explore thoughts, or ideas. Very nice. What I'm searching for is, there are times when you're doing this, when you can really feel where it's working. You can always feel if there's pleasure being given or something like this. So you want to get it within the range of movement. I don't want to be trying to stretch. That doesn't work if I try and make something happen. I've got to just stay within easy movement. I want to stay here within easy movement. Staying within easy movement. In hypnotic terms, this would be an indirect technique. So Leela, just take a few moments to feel this. You can turn that off now before we do the other side. So we've done the front half. I was taught back years ago from the Traeger community, Milton Traeger, a certain style of doing this. You sit on the top and you do the neck first. But I've always come to do it in my own way, and I think you should have the freedom to do that as well. But I started on the front. Some people don't like to start on the front. It's a little more exposed psychologically, emotionally, but I use that because I find that then when people turn over onto their back, and I work on the back, when people turn over onto their front and I work on the back rather than working on the front, I find that they can really let go then because they feel sort of safer. The general tendency is to feel safer with your back to the world. But feel free to do it any way you wish. So, I'm going to show you how you do this. If you come closer, you'll see on her left leg, I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to get that full contact there. Again, shaking hands. My thumb is below the ball of the foot there, and I have good support there. Now, all I want to do is lift that up so I can slide the other one in. And the other one just takes a really good full support position there. Now I can play with these two separate, I have the calf and the leg and the foot, and I can kind of play with that. So then I pick it up like this and I can hold it like that. Lift it up. I can, basically you're lifting and letting go. I've seen people, Leela, forgive me for a moment, I've seen people doing this. I don't like it because it goes against everything we do, which is that you feel safe to let go. And that's safe to let go because I'm letting go at the same speed and giving support. But I've seen people do this, and it's not such a good way to work because she has to tighten up and she doesn't know where she is, she's in the unknown. If you want to put people in the unknown, it's okay, but it's not the purpose with this work. So I can lift here, I can play with these two things, I can go up and down, and I can go round. There's a sense of going round there, and I can put this hand under the top of the foot and do a nice kind of, this just feels good usually, rub up there like that with the heel of my thumb. I can traction this way, and notice how this works on the whole body. There's movement up while I'm doing this tractioning, there's movement up into her head there. And all the time the message is, it's okay to let go. We're only looking for very easy, pleasurable, soft movements here. I can then lift the thigh off like this and just let it get that release there. It's not lifting it off like this, that's too much. She doesn't like it, her body doesn't like that. So it's kind of like, yeah, that's a good feeling there. And the next time I come, maybe it will go more easily. Can do this. And then another thing I do here is I'm going to bring my right hand here and grip the ball of the foot like that. So there I have another way of lifting up the leg. Now I then flop this heel backwards and forwards like this, and this gives a nice release to the calf muscle. And I come up like this and down and up and down and up, and all those downs are just, this is the feeling of letting go. Okay, now when I've got up here, another move I can do is I bring both hands here like that and come around with the camera so you can see my thumbs. My thumbs are each side of this ankle bone there that sticks out. And then I can just shake that backwards and forwards. I can lift it backwards and forwards. I can even do some of this kind of work here if I wish. I can bring this hand down, have a look at this. The left hand molds to the calf muscle, and I want to kind of slurp that calf muscle away from the bone like that. Okay, that's the leg. Then I'm going to come here, if you come around with the camera there. Again, I'm going to now work on here, this area. First of all, I can just come here and put one hand at the top of the leg and one hand on the sacroiliac, and I can just rock here like that. The rocking is, there's no rhythm to the rock. Some people go like this, da 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 da. The body knows that's coming and it gets used to it. So you actually just keep the rhythm backwards and forwards. It's not a tune, it's not a song. I can then go the other side and I can play between the two hands, backwards and forwards. I can lift this a bit with these two. I can look at how I'm holding here. It's not like this, I've got everything here. And then I can play between all these points here like this. Top half of the leg here. And that's a bit more of the dance. Then, if I want to kind of separate the coccyx and the sacrum area, the sacrum area from the lumbar, then I can put that hand on the sacrum, and this hand I can isolate these bones all the way up, and I cross my hands over and I rock, but at the same time I'm kind of creating some traction in there, so there's space between the bones. In that play of movement there's a kind of, there's some freedom in there. Go back to this. Okay. Next move is that facing diagonally across. The right hand is going to go on the hip here, trochanter or whatever it's called. The left hand is going to go on top of the iliac crest. And this hand is going to go side to side, and this hand is going to kind of give traction down towards the feet. This begins to create a lot of energy. I really want to make sure I get this as a handle here. This is my handle. If I'm just sliding up and down, it doesn't work. So then I change, and I'm going to bring this hand to anchor on the lower ribs on the other side of the body. And this hand, which was there, so I've gone from here, I've gone over to there, and this hand can take that position now. And then this hand can go into the sacrum and give that traction downwards, and even onto the other side there. So let me show you those again. We start off like this. That hand moves over to there. This hand, the right hand, comes where the left was, still doing that rocking. Then it goes on to the sacrum, and you begin to get that elongation of the spine. It then goes on to the other iliac crest. The crest here. I can then come here again, full thing, and I want to actually I work with my thumbs in this bit, this between the vertebra and the muscles. I want to get that as a hand hold and create. I'm not making space happen, I'm just making the feeling of easiness there. That's all I want. Okay. Up here, hands like this. One hand on there, the other in the shoulder blade there, and I can bring some compression, but again, compression is the wrong word. I'm looking for the release, I'm looking for this release. Everything is, that can let go. And with the arm, get that hand, look how I got there. I start coming in here where it's easy with the right hand, lift it up a bit, then I can get the left hand under more and more. Then I can bring the hands up close together, so I isolate the shoulder joint or the shoulder and can move that up and around. You know, it's kind of going in that direction like that. And there's the release. I can bring some traction, and there's traction up and round and round, traction up, wobble it around. I can do all this here, everything we did, and then I can bring this here. It's a bit far away from the table, but what I want to get here is this muscle here, the deltoid, and I can isolate that and work with all this. I can get that hand under there and lift this again. Get the position. It's too far away from the table, but that's the kind of thing we're doing there. So that's a rough rundown of the moves on the back. Okay, I'm now going to give more of a play, because this isn't about the technique of each movement, they're just learning tools. The art is that it becomes a kind of dance between you and them, and the meeting between, and the search for letting go, and the search for pleasure and freedom. And in this sense, it's the re-education. Oh, I didn't show you this one. Bring the camera here so you can see this handhold. What I'm doing is I'm throwing the heel out that way, and it has an effect on that muscle. And I'm facing that way so you can see everything. And then I can come in here and do the same in the other way. I'll show you that again. But we're dancing, we're playing. And I would hope that Leela, consciously or in the wisdom and intuition of her body, which has an incredible intelligence, is making full use of these movements to create a memory inside, a kind of memory that would last, so that when she walked out of here, she would feel the effects of these releases and this softening and the space, and the general sense of, that feels okay. Why not? You know, that's what we have these things for. And it's so easy to relax when you give yourself all that permission to just take it easy. As I say, I'm running through this a bit fast because otherwise it will take hours, but you get the idea. I want you to get the feeling that this is about, yes, how good this can be, how good it can feel. Just in there, in there. Another position with my left arm. You can work this one out for yourself. The other thing, I've been teaching this, so it's been one thing, but it's very important to step back and give time. In my sessions, I use a lot of stepping back and just waiting while the effects of the session sink in. So it's movement, stillness, talking, silence. And in these moments, the energy, the healing can sink in as a memory, as an imprint, whatever you wish. And of course, one of the many valuable and useful things about a session like this is that it's about movement and momentum. So the session doesn't stop here. The movement and the momentum and the sensations that are being stimulated in a relaxed way continue. They continue spreading inside. They continue over the next days or evening. There, so this, is it on? So this basically is a session that you'll learn in the 5 days. Use this video as a way just to refer. Oh, okay, I've forgotten where I put my hands. Okay, I'll look at the video. Oh, there. Okay, this is what I do. But also use the video as a way of learning the quality that I bring to it. Sometimes that doesn't translate so easily from a video, but the quality is this. I'll exaggerate it. The quality is kind of that's exaggerated. But it's not a do-nothing thing. It's not like, oh, you don't want to be frightened to touch. In fact, you want to really touch, but you're touching with a sense of purpose. But you're feeling the proprioception. So I can move here, and I'm feeling the proprioception that this circle is as much as I can do. I can't do more without muscles beginning to tighten, and I don't want them to tighten. That's not the message we're doing in this session. So use the video as a useful tool. Okay, so that's it for the video. Thank you very much for watching. Yeah.